Hi everyone, welcome to Dento'ZEN. Today we are here with a new video on properties of dental materials, which can be physical properties, mechanical properties, so you can get a long question on the properties of dental materials. But if we want to know about the properties of any material, first we should have basic knowledge about that material. So let's get to know that. Before starting, quickly subscribe to Dento'ZEN, tap on the like button, hit the bell icon so that you remain notified about new videos. So if we talk about the structure of matter, all materials are made up of atoms. So atom is the smallest unit of matter. So in the center of the atom we have nucleus, which is surrounded by negatively charged electrons which revolve around it in an orbit. So in an atom we can say that in the center we have a nucleus which has positively charged protons and neutrons which have no charge, and this nucleus is surrounded by negatively charged electrons which revolve around this nucleus in an orbit. So that is the basic structure of an atom. Now many such atoms, they are joined together to form a material, to form a molecule. So these atoms, how are they joined? How they are bound to each other? Through the forces which are known as cohesive forces. So cohesive forces are interatomic forces, interatomic, in between the atoms. Now arrangement of atoms in a structure is known as crystal or space lattice. So what is this arrangement? In this arrangement, all atoms are placed equidistant to each other. For example, we can see these are the atoms and their structure resembles a cube. This arrangement resembles a cube. So this is known as cubic lattice. Now, which materials have this kind of arrangement of atoms in them? These are the metals. So metals have crystalline structure. But all materials are not orderly arranged. Some are just randomly placed. In some materials, the atoms may be disorderly. So these type of materials are called non-crystalline materials. And example of non-crystalline material is waxes. So we can say that atoms can be arranged in two ways: crystalline, non-crystalline. Crystalline material examples are metals. Non-crystalline material example are waxes. Now let's have a look inside the crystal lattice. Now on the inside of the crystal lattice, the atoms are equally distant to each other. They have equal attraction with each other to each other. So they have low energy. They are nicely placed surrounded by the atoms on all sides. But what about the atoms which are on the surface of this crystal lattice? They have no atoms on the outside. So they are not nicely placed. Their forces are not balanced. So they have a kind of tension over their surface. They have a kind of energy over their surface. That is, they want to bind to some atoms from other molecules so that their forces are balanced. For example, this is a solid and the atoms on the surface want to bind to some other molecule, for example, say liquid. So this energy, this tension which is present at this surface is known as surface tension. So how can we define surface tension, which can be a viva question? It is the interfacial tension that is present at interface. What interface? Usually between a liquid and a solid. So this is an interface between a liquid and a solid. And why it is there? Because of the unbalanced intermolecular forces. The forces here are not balanced. So at the surface they have energy, and that is why, because of which there is tension. So this is surface tension. Now what is the usage of this concept? For example, if we want to bring two solid surfaces together, for say this is one type of solid, this is another type of solid material, totally different, and if we want to force two solid surfaces to bind to each other, do you think it is possible? It is very difficult. Why? Because these solid surfaces may appear smooth, but their surfaces are not smooth. Actually, they may have irregularities over their surface, and when we try to bind them, they will just bind over these peaks, over these projections. So actual contact will be very less, and most of their surfaces will remain out of contact. So how can we bring good contact between the two? Yes, you have guessed it right. One way to do is by bringing some material that is fluid that can easily flow between these irregularities to provide contact over a greater part of this surface. So this type of bond which is formed between the liquid and the solid is called adhesion. So this force of attraction between the liquid and the solid is called adhesion, and this type of forces are called adhesive forces, which are totally different from the cohesive forces. So cohesive forces are interatomic between the atoms, whereas adhesive forces are between the two types of molecules, liquid and solid molecules. So they are intermolecular forces. So we can say that liquid here is called adhesive adhesive, like we have a gum which is adhesive, which is liquid, and then the solid here is called adherent. The surface of solid is the place where this liquid will flow. So we have adhesive, adherent, and the forces is adhesion. So wettability is the relative affinity, relative attraction of a liquid for the surface of the solid, and if how much extent it flows over the entire surface and adheres to solid, that is called the wetting. So wetting is the characteristic of the liquid by which it spreads completely over the entire surface of the solid and binds to it. Now, how can we know that all liquids will have nice wetting? That is by a concept which is known as contact angle of wetting. That can be another important Viva question or a short note for you. So what is contact angle of wetting? It is the angle which is formed at the interface of adhesive and the adherent, that is between the liquid and the solid. So angle which is formed here is called contact angle of wetting. For example, in this first picture, if we see, this liquid has completely spread over the solid surface. So the contact angle between them is 0. So when the contact angle is 0, there is perfect wetting, complete wetting. But what if this contact angle is between 0 to 90 degree, as we can see here? So then the wetting will be there, high wettability, but it is not complete, it is not perfect. So that is when contact angle is between 0 to 90 degree. Now if this contact angle further increases, that is it is between 90 to 180 degree, what will happen? So wettability of this liquid will be low. It will be very less in contact with the solid surface. And what if the contact angle between the two becomes 180 degree? That means they do not contact each other. So there is no contact, there is no wetting. So we can say that contact angle of wetting is a measure of wettability of the liquid. It can tell us how much this liquid will spread over the surface of the solid. Now, what is the practical usage of this concept? We can say when we look inside the mouth of our patients, there is a moist environment, that is there is saliva, and when we want to make an impression of these hard tissues, for example, if we look here, we want to put our impression material you might have used in your dental materials, practical classes, lab classes. So this material, if this impression material has poor wettability with the liquid, it is hydrophobic. That means it is not going to be wet by the moist environment of the oral cavity, because of which it will not flow properly into all the hard tissues, into all the teeth and into the soft tissues. So it will not be able to replicate our tissues properly. So that is one usage, one application. Second is when we try to pour aqueous gypsum products into this impression material that we have already made. So this gypsum products will also not flow well into this impression material. So the cast which will be obtained will not have accurate records. So that is again where we need to make sure that there is good wetting. Then third, for example, when we do restorations in the patient's mouth, so these restorations may have high surface energy compared to the enamel surface. So because of their high surface energy, they want to bind to something from outside, so they can attract the food material and at their margins and over their surface, because of which there can be chances of secondary caries at the enamel surface at the margins of these restorations. Then another point can be when we want to treat our teeth with fluoride, when we put aqueous fluoride solutions over the enamel surface. So this fluoride will decrease the surface energy of the enamel, and because of which the chances of attraction of food debris decreases and the chances of caries decreases. So it has been seen that fluoride treated enamel has less chances of caries. So those are the some of the examples of the application of this concept of wetting. So in today's video, we have discussed about the basic knowledge of the dental materials, that is their structure. They are made up of atoms. Atoms are forming an arrangement. One arrangement is called crystal lattice, and within the crystal lattice, some atoms are nicely placed, but the atoms which are on the surface, they have surface tension, and how that is decreased by the presence of a liquid. And this liquid, which is adhesive, it has a property which is called wetting, wettability. And how we can measure the wettability of the liquid? By the contact angle of the wetting. And this contact angle of wetting can be an important short note or viva question for you. So you can define what it is and you can tell the different scenarios. So in the next video, we are going to discuss the physical and mechanical properties of the dental materials. So don't forget to watch that video and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. So if you really enjoyed the video, like and share this video with your friends. Keep watching, keep smiling, keep learning. See you in the next video soon. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.